Tom mentioned it's pretty different from playing live to doing a record. He mentioned that there was some lassoing involved in terms of trying to get the sound to a certain place. Do you remember exactly what that was like? Because obviously, you know, Ozzy had a certain way about him on stage, and it's very different when he's standing in front of a microphone.
Yeah, well, it was very basic, the whole thing. We just stuck a guitar cabinet there with a baffle at the side of it and a mic in front of it. Bass rig was the same, right next to me, and then Bill, and then Ozzy was in a booth. So it was very just like you would in a rehearsal with baffles there, really.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, Roger Bain and Tom as well, you know, helping you through the process.
Oh yeah, I mean they were really great, and we'd done a little bit of pre-production stuff with Roger, you know, going through the songs. But you know, for us it was like doing a gig. You'd come in and play, and really we only had one shot at most of the stuff because we didn't have time to do. In fact, I always remember when we did Warning, I wanted to do it again because I wasn't happy with what I played. And they went, oh, we've not really got the time to do that. You know? Yeah. I did talk them into doing, I said, let me have another go at it. And so we did. And that was it. It was the end. So, and I didn't think it was as good as the one that I'd done it the first time anyway, so we ended up using the first one.
Yeah, sod's law.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a problem with Warning as well, that actually the original version is 14 minutes long or something like that, so you could have simplified it, really.
The original version was really long, and of course they cut it down into certain sections, which at first, when we first heard it, it was weird because we were so used to playing it and doing it the long version, where it linked, you know, properly. But no, I've got used to it now.
Just as fucking well, isn't it? I mean, one of the interesting things on that record as well, before we talk about some of the original material as well, because obviously Warning's an Ainsley Dunbar cover, but there's also the cover of Evil Woman, which I know you weren't that fussed about at the time. It was, I think, Jim Simpson's idea that you would cut this track. Was that because you thought that you'd release it as a single and it would be like a commercial smash?
It was, you know, Jim Simpson's idea. We weren't keen on it at all, but he went on about doing it, so we did it. We didn't really need to do it. We could have, you know, written one of our own, and it seemed weird playing other people's stuff at the time.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, when it came down to it, you know, obviously it's just one of those tracks on the album that people don't go on about potentially, because obviously there are so many songs on there that still are in the set now. You know, obviously.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. But you know, it's amazing that there are that many songs from a debut album in the set. The other thing that happened, obviously, which everyone knows about, is the fact that it wasn't your idea to do, well, two things. One is to add the rain and the tolling bell at the start of Black Sabbath itself. And obviously the other thing was the inverted cross on the inside of the gatefold. Have you learned to live with both of those things now?
Yes. No, I like it. You know, at first, we just done the music, and then Roger Bain, and I forgot his name now.
Tom Alon.
Yeah. They worked together and come up with the bell idea, and it was good. It sort of worked. As far as the inverted cross, we had no idea what that was until we saw the album cover. And God, did we get some grief over that? Yes.
Well, you shouldn't have messed with things you didn't understand.
We shouldn't have started in that place.
Yeah. You should have had a word with Geezer about, you know, dabbling with, you know, Weekly and the game. It is one of those strange things. I mentioned in Geezer there as well, in terms of his kind of lyricism and what have you, because obviously, you know, he did write a load of those things. And how did the dynamic evolve within the band? Because at the time when you put out that first album, you were playing, you weren't a band that were a household name. Obviously the album comes out and it actually did remarkably well. I mean, you know, it peaked at number 8 in the UK, so you've kind of gone from 0 to, well, 8.
It was good then. Well, we built up pockets. We used to play at a lot of blues clubs, and we sort of built up a following through there, really. And the one particular blues club we played, we tried out these 2 new songs that we'd written, which was Wicked World and Black Sabbath, and of course the reaction was great and shock, really. And people were coming up afterwards saying, well, what was that, you know, I've never heard anything like it, and, oh, that's our own song, yeah. And I mean, that gave us the foundation of where we were going to be. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to write something that was really different, and it was different in that day.
I think when it comes down to the difference in sound, it's pretty obvious in terms of you turning up at a blues club and banging out Black Sabbath. But in the studio as well, just coming back to Roger's involvement really, it has to be said, while music had got heavier at that point, no one quite sounded like Sabbath. So it must have been a bit of a shock to try and capture that sound, which he did remarkably well, to be honest with you. I mean, was there any friction between you and him? Was there any sort of, what the fuck are you doing, guys?
Not at all, man. He was on board with us from the off, and whatever we wanted to do, he liked it. And I don't think it would have worked in any other way. We wouldn't have changed. That was us, and that's what we wanted to do. And it's been the same all the way down the line, you know, until now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with varying producers,
Yeah, they gigs mine, but
you couldn't get any gigs.
well, it was difficult because of what we were playing.
Well, if you're going to be that evil, you're not going to really get embraced by the wider audience, are you? It's just going to be maniacs, occultists, and a few people in here.
Yeah, well, it's got a few of those.
But obviously, you know, the other thing about it is, to be fair, the band's reputation for the way you were was fairly pronounced as well. You weren't, well, how should we put it without being rude? You weren't a refined bunch, that's the best way of putting it. And you had a propensity for mischief.
Well, that's right. In fact, one of the memories that come back to me when we came into London, we went to the not the whiskey, what's it called?
Which one? The one whereabouts? The marquee.
Marquee. And we walked in there, and they went. We tried to find out who was the smartest of us to walk in first, who was the most best addressed. And of course, it got to Bill, and they went, "What a state!" You know? And that's the way we were. And all them times, you know, we weren't really accepted that well.
It's quite funny because a lot of people since then have actually tried to copy that, how should we put it, dishevelled look. You know, certain of them are now among us actually. And yeah, maybe lacking some Bill's underpants or his missus' underpants.
Bill certainly had the right style. I mean, I used to play with Bill before Sabbath in another band, and we lived up in Carlisle in Company. And we, in them days, we all slept in the same room. You know, we only had one room, and we all slept in. This wasn't really, was it? This was just Bill, myself, and another 2 guys.
Yeah, it's mythology.
Mythology, yeah. And Bill was the sort of person who'd put a clean t-shirt on, go to bed, wake up the next morning, put it on inside out, wake up the next morning, turn it back round the right way and wear it for that day, go to bed on the night, turn it inside out.
It could have been worse, he could have slept naked.
Well, that would have been.
I mean, obviously the one thing about the dynamic in the band that we loosely touched on, and in fact Bill was talking about it in the film, it obviously evolved quite quickly as well, because, you know, you went out on tour as soon as you finished recording the album, you were still playing live, you were writing new material. Did you write on the road, or did you just write in the rehearsal room? How did the material for Paranoid come about, really?
Paranoid. Some of the stuff come about in jams.
Right.
We're playing at a club, and there'll be like 3 people in, and that's certainly somewhere where that's where parts of Warpix came from, which was from a jam, and I just rendered the riff and kept them.
Yeah.
And
So
when it came to when they wanted another album, quick, which was Paranoid, and they gave us a week to record it and write it as well. It involved in most of that. So it was a bit on the spot, really. You come up with ideas, and that's certainly what happened with the Paranoid, the sound. Here, it was we took a break, and Roger Baines says, well, we need one more track, but we need a short track. We've never written a short 3-minute song.
yeah.
So it was, oh God. So the other guys had popped out around the pub, and I stayed here for a bit and just come up with this riff. And when they came back, I said, oh, listen, let's have a go at this. And it was Paranoid. I mean, we virtually recorded it within, as long as it took.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll come back and discuss Paranoid and the effect of that track and also the recording of that album in just a couple of seconds. But first of all, let's rewind to the first album, because the one thing that also happened at that time was the long and protracted relationship that you endured and enjoyed with the press as well when that album came out, which is actually why the box set is called The 10-Year War. It is based on that comic book that came out with around Never Say Die, I think, with a whole load of reviews that we were reading upstairs, where you got absolutely, no pun intended, crucified by the press.
For some reason, the British press just couldn't stand us. And so we got to a point where we said, that's it, we're not going to do any more press. It wasn't worth it. We're getting better press by not doing press. So we decided we weren't going to do press for a while. And the same when we went to America. But America, it was weird because America accepted us so much better. And we thought, we're from England. Surely you get behind you, the press in Europe get behind you. But no. I always remember one guy, we were doing a gig here, and he came along to report on the show to do his bit. I read his review, and he obviously wasn't at the show. He came and left because at the night he came to do the review, we cancelled the show. And it was really peculiar because he'd done his review on the show, which didn't happen.
To be honest, we've all been there. But there were other moments as well. I remember you telling me some story about a guy coming around your house and being surprised that you kind of weren't living in a cave or something along those lines, which, to be fair, I'm pretty surprised too, but,
You want about the NME?
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't go down very well at all. I think he expected a lot more. I don't know what he expected, bats and God knows what else. And he came around and
bats.
And I think he was just shocked with the whole thing. I picked him up at the station in the Lamborghini. Didn't go down well. And he criticised my driving, which was in the press. He criticised it at the time.
Oh, yellow journalism.
Yeah.
Slagging someone off for driving without slagging
He
them.
done quite a lot of horrible things, he sort of said, really, which I thought was below the belt. If somebody's, I don't mind people saying things if they feel that way, it's the truth. But he had a personal dig at my family, my home, and which was nothing to do with what we're thinking of music, you know.
Yeah, of course. I think the other thing about it is that, you know, in America there are also various situations, even though you said you were widely embraced by the public, there were situations where the press did go in quite hard, you know, Lester Bangs included, which is quite funny rereading those reviews. And then in a reversal of that though, you know, the Rolling Stone album guide has accorded, you know, 5 stars to the first Sabbath album, you know, retrospectively. And I think that is the other thing, there is an irony in this, because truthfully I think among the press, Sabbath are now so revered, you could probably make the worst album of your career and everyone would fucking go, it's genius. So it's quite amazing, really.
Well, that's true. I mean, it is true. And it's a shame that it's like that. If you get, I don't mind criticism of any sort, if it's deserved.
Yeah.
But I think some of them won't deserve. They just, if you don't like us, you don't like us.
Yeah.
And what can you do?
About the flip side of criticism, and move on to success in itself, because we started talking about Paranoid, that, as you say, was recorded here in a large chunk actually, in the space of all of, like you say, I think it's 5 days actually, I don't think it was the full 7.
It was 5 days.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about that, obviously, as an album, sonically it's a step on. What accounts for that? Is it the fact that you're more confident in the studio, you've developed as a band, the fact that Roger is now more comfortable working with you, all of the above?
I think so. I think once the first album came out and we toured that, to come in and do another album was a lot more comfortable because we've been here before and we've worked with Roger and we got everything sort of organised so we could just come in and play. It wasn't so tense, you know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there are songs on that record again. I mean, they've just endured both. You know, the first chunk of your recorded output really has endured with the stuff that's in the 10-year war. But on that particular record as well, having a genuine hit single like Paranoid, as you say, written in the wink of an eye, what did that do to the band? And also, what did it do to the audience? Because, again, you're just not the kind of hit single guys. You know, that's not how you were, and that's not how, I suppose, your hardcore fans thought of you at the time.
Well, that's exactly right. We weren't, Paranoid for us, threw us in a different direction altogether. You know, we're there doing Top of the Pops, which we didn't want to do, and we didn't do it the second time. Because we were attracting screaming girls and stuff like that, which wasn't us, it wasn't about. We were musically, we wanted to be accepted musically, and not because we're flavour of the month, you know. And I think Paranoid threw us off the rails a bit at first, but of course now, I mean, it's, you know, it's probably one of the most played records we've had.
Oh yeah, absolutely, by a country mile. You know, it's probably being played as we speak somewhere in the world, I suppose.
Yeah.
But obviously, on top of that, the song itself is kind of interesting because a massive smash, and yet lyrically, a genuinely incredibly dark song. A song about, well, really, I mean, as Geezer said in the past, it's a song about depression and abject despair. Do you think that side of it just got lost, or do you think that people were like, oh, okay, I can identify with this? Because if it came out now in the age of, you know, the consciousness that we have enjoyed concerning mental health, it would have a completely different impact in terms of, you know, the way in which people view those lyrics.
I think at the time, with certain people, it probably they could relate to it, and I think other people, as I said, the quick fans that were in and out and gone, I don't think they knew what it was about. You know, it was just the rhythm of it and the melody of it. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, during the sessions for that album here, there are a load of photographs that I would imagine as well a lot of people have seen of you in the studio. And I have to ask you about one photograph in particular of you, because you've got a black eye. And what was that about? Was it some sort of interband row?
Yeah, well, we got into a fight about a couple of days before we were due in the studio. Not with each other, with, at the time they were mods. And of course they didn't like any kind of rockers, you know. And so we ended up in this ginormous fight, and it was very bad, you know, with hammers. Bloody Aussie hit somebody on the head with a hammer. And, I mean, it was really seriously bad. And I never forget, I went home and I go up to bed, and I was staying with my mum and dad then. And my mum said, shouted out of the bedroom, how did it go? And I went, oh, great. And opened the door, put the light on, the big red eye out as but so it happens that we're in the bloody studio, and then they're taking photos of me with, I'm trying to hide my eye, you know.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Well, if you hadn't mentioned it before we sat down and done this, I would really have never have noticed, but since you did, I felt
well, you started it.
Is that row involving Ozzy and the Hammer? That's not what begat Fairies Wear Boots, is it?
It is actually, that's
Right.
part of it, yeah. Fairies Wear Boots, because they've got big hobnail boots, and I think there was a lot of them, and there was only the four of us and one of the crew.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's, you have to have a weapon of some sort.
And a hammer did the job.
We had a couple of hammers.
Do you still travel with a hammer these days?
No, a gun now.
Upgrade. Obviously, we've talked about the first two records. We should talk about the 10-Year War, because obviously that is coming out. It's impossible for us to go through, an entire decade of Sabbath. There's just no way we can do that in the space that we've got. I know you've got to get back home. Hey?
I wouldn't remember it.
Well, you've done very well. For a man who told me you didn't remember anything of ever being in this room, I think you've done a sterling job, to be honest.
But it does look a bit different, I must say. I don't remember the bar.
Well, I'm glad it looks different. Otherwise, you'd have some weird fucking flashback, and that'd be disastrous, wouldn't it? But
I tell you what, it's a good job that weren't there then. Never got an album.
But to be fair, to come back to the first album, I think that even though you had 2 days, what is unbelievably impressive, on the first day, you were still out of the studio in time for last orders in the local boozer.
Well, they were.
Oh, you weren't? You were still toying?
No. We finished when we should, and the second day was more to do with our day really was just one day.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Roger Bain and
Tom
Allen, I keep forgetting his name.
Yeah.
A long time ago. They had the second day really.
Yeah, mixing and then getting the overdubs
yeah.
done and all the rest of it. Yeah.
Well, we only done one overdub.
Right.
The guitar rights.
You did also find time, I think, during your time here, it might have been on the Paranoid album, to do a photo session in the graveyard behind here as well. And if I remember rightly, that photo session also involved a tramp.
Oh, that was Bill.
Let's come back to the 10-Year War. There is a reason that you are here. I know the Sabbath catalogue obviously has been reissued a million times and what have you. Not necessarily on splattered vinyl though, with a crucifix stick. That it has to be said. So it is a thing of great beauty. I know you've just seen it upstairs and what have you, in its pretty finished form. But when you think back to that 10-year period, I mean, it is kind of interesting in terms of the highs and the lows. Bill was talking about, his favourite album. When you look back at that period, what is your personal favourite record?
I find it really difficult to pinpoint my favourite album because I like, having written most of them, I like them all.
Yeah.
I mean, there's different versions of it, from Paranoid, which I liked all the tracks, and then when we got to Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, it sort of took a different leap there, and we experimented a bit more. So, No, I can't pick one that my favourite. Probably the first two at the moment.
Right, right. I mean, obviously, the later period of the band was also slightly blighted, it's fair to say, by, well, business wrangles is the polite way of putting it, and also the fact that there were situations within the band where you kind of lost touch with each other. I think that's, again, another polite way.
Drugs, it was called.
I didn't want to say that because I know you're, you know, a very clean living individual with morals these days and a gun. But when you are, you know, hoovering up vast amounts of, you know, marching powder, I suppose... Sorry? Charlie in the house, isn't he? Charlie's in the house, isn't he? And indeed, some bloke called Krell. Anyway, but when you are doing all that kind of stuff, I suppose it is kind of easy to lose touch with reality, but also with what made you the people that you were as a bunch of mates in the first place. Because that, I think, is the staggering thing about your bands, that you were friends, you did get on. When anybody spends any time with the four of you in a room, despite any of the acrimony that there may have been at various points, it is a side-splitting experience.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, we virtually lived together for all those years. Travelled in the same band, slept in the same rooms. I mean, unfortunately, when you know, when the time came that we could afford to have two rooms instead of us all being in the same room, I got to bloody share with Ozzy. And it wasn't just the room; we were both in the same bed, which was even worse. So you know, you get pissed and then you wake up to his mouth here like this, and oh no. It's so, yeah, tennis moments. But all those things made you bring you together and travelling, and all the ups and downs we had, we stuck together because we had to fight the whole world at first, because to get our music free, you know, to get people to listen to it. And there'd always be someone, oh, you know, you can't play here, or some church would complain about trying to ban us, or you just never knew what you were coming up against, certainly in America.
Yeah, yeah.
With, you know, there were some strange people out there.
Well, there still are. One fucking guy in particular.
Yeah, Ozzy, he's still there.
But when you look back at that period, then, you know, really to sum it up, I mean, how do you feel? I'm sure you don't sit at home listening to, you know, all 8 albums in quick succession or what have you, but for you, it's a defining period, not only as a musician, but also in your life. It's the period where you grew up. It's the period where you became the person that you became, I suppose, in a lot of ways. I mean, what did it teach you? What did that 10-year war teach you, I suppose?
I think it taught us a lot, you know, because, as I say, we lived it, and the areas we were all brought up in wasn't exactly a nice area. It was gangs and fights. So within the band, we had our clique. We were like a gang, and we fought to everything. And it teaches us to believe in our music and play because we love what we do. It wasn't about any kind of money, because we didn't get any money. We loved what we did, and we enjoyed what we did, and we were willing to fight for what we did. You know, the amount of times over the years people are going to say, why don't you play something different, you know, some other, I can get a producer to write you something. No, we don't want it. We write the songs, and it showed now, you know, we're still here, still all these years, and albums. We've probably done the biggest tours we've ever done in the last few years.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, vindication in itself, and of course, you know, to go out as you have done, you know, on a high with Women's People One and See is quite an achievement. It kind of brings us pretty much to, I think we're pretty much running out of time here, so I'll just ask you one final question really, Tony, because I think the thing about it is with you is that we know Sabbath has come to an end now, but you've also been very vocal about the fact that you don't necessarily want to stop playing. So for you, away from, you know, the other guys, what comes next?
Well, really, for me, it's good to have some time and to really look at things and what I want to do, because for near 50 years, it's been, the tours have been worked out 6 or 8 months beforehand. So you've never had time to sort of really sort of come down off it, because you're getting ready for the next tour, or the next album, or the next interview, or the next, like this.
Yeah. You didn't know you were doing this till
I
about
didn't
10
know I was
minutes ago.
going
So.
to. But the thing is, it's I'm actually doing more now. I mean, I thought we were going to come off tour, and I'd stop, and I'd be at home and put my feet up and think, oh, that's what I want to do. But I haven't had time. So we've been doing this box set. We've been doing the DVD.
Yeah.
And I'll have to do the mixing for the DVD of the music. Everybody else is summing it up in LA. But it's what I do, and it's what I've always done. So I haven't really had time to be able to pull back and think, well, that's because I start, I get offered a lot of stuff, but you can keep doing it forever. I just want to pull back and think about what I want to do and take on different things that I'd really enjoy, because I love playing, and I like doing some bit of TV stuff, and I'd like to work with the guys at some point.
Yeah. So when we say it's the end of Sabbath, it's not necessarily the end of Sabbath, but the end of Sabbath touring live.
As far as touring, I wouldn't want to tour the world again. I mean, for me, I get very tired of doing it now. I love on stage, that's the ultimate thing. But people don't understand, a lot of people don't. They think they just see you there for a couple of hours, and they don't know it's taking you 8 hours to get there,
Yeah.
Flying and then doing interviews and press and everything before the show. And then after the show, you've got to wind down and fly back to the hotel. So sometimes we were getting back to the hotel at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So it becomes, after a while, you've been there, you've seen it. You get
I quite enjoyed it, to be honest with you.
I enjoyed it, but you get fed up after a bit tired.
It sounded like there was a bit of cocking around involved, to be honest.
Well, in the days when we used to stay up all night, it was brilliant.
No, I mean, I think that's the thing as well. I mean, I think when it comes to you guys playing together again, well, I speak for everyone here when I say we all hope that it happens, to be honest with you, because, Sabbath, the 4 of you actually, there's something that happens that other people don't have. And it is quite a remarkable and unique thing. I won't get teary at this juncture.
No, it would have been nice, to have done these last shows with Bill, but it just couldn't happen. It just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's silly, really, because it was over nothing. It would have been good for us, 4 of us. Even if Bill had played a couple of shows, it would have been great.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think also, having been down with you guys the day before he had that heart attack, actually, there is a thing where Bill has to look after.
Well, that's what we...
I didn't mean to laugh that loudly at that point.
Yeah, we were concerned about that, because when he had the heart attack, it was, as you know, it was banged in hospital. So we thought, if we're going to do it, a tour like we've just done for Bill, I don't think he quite realises how hard it would have been.
Yeah.
On him. So
Yeah.
we wanted to bring another drummer just in case Bill would have wanted to say, I can't do it for a couple of days or whatever. It's too risky to go out and then Bill say, I can't do it. Then you have to cancel, some 70,000 people or whatever it might be where it goes wrong. It's very hard, and it's not fair on the fans, and it's not fair on Bill.
No, absolutely not.
Tone, do you want a drink?
Tone, do you want to drink? We haven't even got to that bit of the evening yet.
What's that now?
Do you want a drink of
Do you-
water or last
I got the water.
There's some water down here. Or there is a can of some strange excitement. It's a drink break.
It's only water.
You've got a drink Brody as well. Fucking amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, thought you were never going to. No, I'm alright actually. We're just going to wrap it up. Tony's got to get back. He's got to watch a rerun of Love Island, so we don't want to hold him.
I'm hoping to get on it.
Actually, you did mention that you wanted to do some TV stuff just earlier, and I didn't pick up on that. I didn't realise it was Love Island. Or is it Bake Off? Yeah, they've got a funny cast. No, anyway, let's move on.
I don't watch it, Phil.
Anyway, listen, Tony, I think we have run out of time, and now you've had your drink break. All is good. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Iommi. Thank you.